still remember that day perfectly. I was dusting off everything in my apartment. That's what I used to do when I got stressed. I was overthinking something again, of course, and I didn't even know why, because I never really talked about things like this with my dad, but I felt like I needed his perspective. So I put my duster down and sent him a text. One thing about my dad is that he will respond to a text within 60 seconds without fail. He said to come on over and go ahead and let myself in. So I made the quick drive, walked into the house, and made my way up the stairs. I saw his study door cracked, which I found out of place because he always had it locked when we were kids. I announced myself just outside the door, and he called me in. He was going over his business ledger or something with those weird half-lens glasses he used to wear. This time he actually sat right up. I think he saw how serious I was. He told me to take a seat and tell him what was up. So I laid it out for him. My girlfriend and I were getting more and more serious. We were talking every day, seeing each other multiple times a week, and now we had taken that all important intimate step. Without going into graphic detail, there was one particular issue that I had discovered, and maybe it was really stupid on my part that it took me this long, but she was a really nice girl, and it's not like she showed them off or anything. I danced around my point just like this when I told my dad, and he jumped right in and broke it up with a candid, "She has a pair of big ol' fakies, huh?" I was a little uncomfortable, but very relieved that he could just cut to the chase like that. It actually made it much less awkward. Naturally, he wanted to know what was the problem since, well, guys generally like big boobs. He told me there was even a chance she had gotten them specifically to attract a higher caliber of partner, and, mission accomplished and all because now she had me. I told him what I had always felt. He knew me. I was like him. I'm an outdoorsman. I like fresh, clean air. I hate the city, smog, the noise. I just hate anything with artificial elements. I prefer everything natural. The way I always saw it was God can't make a mistake, so anything man adds just corrupts what was already perfect. He paused for a moment, took off his glasses, and placed pressure on his chair springs as he reclined back. I could tell he had a lot he wanted to say, and he was being careful as to how to say it. He began by asking, "Do you love her?" I honestly hadn't thought about that yet. It was too early, I felt, but when my dad asked me so suddenly like this, I, for whatever reason, shot out, "Yes." He quickly sat upright and said, "Then literally nothing else should matter." It was the way he said it, so matter of fact. My dad was a serious person. He was the type of guy who insures every single Dodger ticket purchase, even though he hasn't missed a game in nearly 30 years. I really didn't expect him to be so unrealistic, or maybe the better word would be romantic, like this. I tried to work around his advice, and what I now realize was just my fear manifesting, because, shocker, he was right, and I was falling madly in love with a woman I would one day ask to be my wife. I told him about how I cannot imagine the kind of person who would alter their body like that. That had to be a warning sign of mental illness, right? You're not supposed to look in the mirror and see something you don't like. At least not enough to shell out thousands of dollars, then be sedated and mutilated with a scalpel to change it. He agreed with me and said that you really shouldn't, although everyone has their own issues and some are naturally happier with their physicality than others. He then stopped himself for a beat. He leaned his elbows on his desk and looked me straight in the eye to ask, were those the first falsies I'd gotten my hands on? I told him yeah, and he coolly replied that I had no case then. Up until that point, my rule for no fake hooters was just pure speculation, and to be frank, immature speculation at that. He told me to imagine if I had said I would never date anyone who wore false nails or wore flip-flops. How ridiculous would I have sounded? Well, what was the difference, really? He then told me that I should know damn well that when it comes to choosing a wife to build a life with, just like he chose my mother, it has nothing to do with anything superficial whatsoever. Sure, he said, your mother's titties had me driving from Torrance to Northridge without a second thought. But I married her for more than that. And the opposite would have held true too. I would have married your mother, done anything to be her life's mate, whether she had minuscule molehills or misshapen silicone-enriched fun bags. He said he married her because she was a kind soul, the sweetest person he'd ever met, reminded him a little of his own mother, and above all, because he loved her. And he knew he'd love her until the last time his hands could squeeze her gorgeous full-size breasts. His words, of course. Then he read me like a book and told me about how he knows it's scary having these feelings, and he could tell she was special because I was in here talking to him about her. But the fact was that it is exactly because of these doubts and fears that I should continue getting to know her and grow a relationship. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters in a woman is the chunk of muscle beating behind those tickle bitties. And there's no way to fake that. So that was that. I told him thanks and went ahead and kept on with the girl. Of course, we ended up getting married, and now she's going to make me a daddy myself. It can be funny, the things we remember from our parents, but I owe my whole life to my wife, and of course, by proxy, to my dad's advice to evaluate a person by their character and nothing short of. Soon it might be my time to hand down some advice, and yeah, I'm a little afraid of the challenge, but I'm ready for it. My dad made sure of that. Honestly, I couldn't be happier as I look forward to the time I'll get the chance to tell my son that a boy never forgets his first fakies. That was A Boy Never Forgets His First Fakies, written and performed by me, Josh Ramirez. Make sure you're subscribed and like all these videos for more stories coming very, very soon, trying to do every one a week. And if you like to read them, they're also on my Wattpad. Check the links below. Thank you for listening.